Ladies and gentlemen, there is a force inside every human being that is more powerful than logic, stronger than attraction, and deeper than physical beauty. It is the need to feel understood, respected, and emotionally safe. Most people spend their lives trying to chase love by saying the perfect words, playing clever games, or pretending to be someone they're not. But the truth is this: people don't fall deeply in love because you convince them. They fall deeply because they experience something around you that they rarely experience anywhere else. If someone has an avoidant personality, the biggest mistake you can make is trying harder every time they pull away. Most people panic. They chase. They over-explain. They demand reassurance. They try to force closeness before trust has been earned. And every step they take forward causes the avoidant person to take 2 steps back. Real influence works differently. The secret isn't feeding someone's arrogance or manipulating their emotions. The real secret is recognizing the invisible emotional needs hidden beneath their eye. Independence. Every person who appears emotionally distant has an inner world they rarely allow others to see. Behind confidence often lives caution. Behind distance often lives fear. Behind self-reliance often lives someone who desperately wants connection but has learned to self from disappointment. When you understand this, everything changes. Power isn't about making someone need you. Power is becoming someone whose presence creates peace instead of pressure. Think about that. So most people become emotional storms. They create tension. They create expectations. They create drama. But extraordinary people create certainty. They create calm. They create freedom. And freedom is magnetic. When someone feels they can breathe around you, they begin associating your presence with emotional safety. That feeling becomes unforgettable. Confidence plays a tremendous role here. Not loud confidence. Not arrogant confidence. Quiet confidence. The confidence that doesn't demand attention because it already knows its worth. The confidence that doesn't chase approval because it creates value wherever it goes. The confidence that says, I appreciate you, but I also appreciate myself. That energy cannot be faked. People can sense desperation long before they hear your words. They can also sense genuine self-respect without you saying a single sentence. The moment your happiness depends entirely on another person's response, you've handed them your emotional power. The moment your happiness comes from your purpose, your growth, your mission, and your values, you become incredibly attractive because you're a stump. No longer asking someone else to complete your life. You already have one. And that's where genuine connection begins. Here's another truth that changes everything. People don't remember every conversation. They remember how they felt. Did they feel judged? Did they feel controlled? Did they feel pressured? Or did they feel accepted? When someone experiences genuine acceptance without losing respect for you, something extraordinary happens inside them. Their emotional walls begin lowering naturally because they no longer feel the need to defend themselves. That's influence, not manipulation. Influence is helping someone feel safe enough to become more of who they truly are. Never underestimate the power of patience. We live in a world obsessed with instant gratification, instant messages, instant replies, instant relationships, instant certainty. But meaningful relationships are never built instantly. Trust grows through consistency. Respect grows through integrity. Love grows through repeated experiences of emotional security. Patience isn't waiting helplessly. Patience is remaining emotionally strong while allowing life to unfold naturally. That requires inner strength. And inner strength always commands respect. Another powerful principle is emotional control. When life becomes unpredictable, most people become reactive. They allow emotions to control decisions. They speak from frustration instead of wisdom. They react from fear instead of confidence. Strong people respond instead of react. They pause. They observe. They understand. Then they choose the response that reflects who they are, rather than what they feel in the moment. That level of emotional mastery becomes incredibly attractive because it creates stability in an unstable world. Here's something few people realize. Your life itself is your greatest message. If your days are filled with passion, purpose, learning, contribution, health, discipline, and joy, you naturally become more interesting because you're actually becoming more alive. People aren't attracted only to appearances. They're attracted to energy, and energy comes from living fully. Wake up excited, grow constantly, challenge yourself, develop new skills, take care of your body, expand your mind, serve other people, build something meaningful. When your own life becomes extraordinary, relationships become a beautiful addition instead of your only source of fulfillment. That's freedom. And freedom creates attraction. Never forget the importance of listening. Most people listen only long enough to prepare their next answer. Exceptional people listen to understand. Real listening communicates something words never can. It says you matter. Everyone wants to feel significant. Everyone wants to believe their thoughts have value. When you genuinely hear someone without immediately trying to fix them, judge them, or interrupt them, you satisfy one of the deepest emotional needs every human possesses. That kind of connection is unforgettable. Respect boundaries. This is where many relationships collapse. People assume closeness means unlimited access. It doesn't. Healthy relationships honor individuality. They recognize that two complete people choose to walk together rather than two incomplete people trying to rescue each other. Space isn't always rejection. Sometimes space is simply breathing room. And when you respect another person's need for independence while maintaining your own confidence, you communicate enormous emotional maturity. Maturity always outlasts intensity. Intensity may create excitement. Maturity creates lasting trust. Remember this powerful idea. Your words matter. Your actions matter more. Anyone can promise loyalty. Anyone can promise understanding. Anyone can promise forever. But consistency transforms promises into belief. Be reliable. Be honest. Be kind. Keep your word. Show up. Stand by your principles even when nobody is watching. Character speaks louder than charm ever will. The strongest relationships aren't built on endless excitement. They're built on certainty. Knowing someone will remain authentic tomorrow because they were authentic today. That predictability creates emotional security, and emotional security becomes the foundation upon which deep love grows. Finally, understand this. You cannot force another human being to love you. You cannot manipulate lasting affection. You cannot control another person's heart. What you can control is the quality of your own character, your courage, your discipline, your compassion, your confidence, your emotional intelligence. Become someone whose presence inspires peace instead of anxiety. Become someone whose strength gives others permission to lower their defenses. Become someone who values themselves enough that they never beg for affection, yet loves deeply enough that they never fear giving it. Because the greatest influence you'll ever have over another person isn't convincing them to choose you. It's becoming the kind of person whose authenticity, confidence, emotional stability, and genuine respect naturally inspire others to move closer. When you master yourself, you stop chasing connection. You begin creating it. And the most extraordinary relationships are never built through pressure. They are built through trust, freedom, respect, consistency, and the quiet confidence of someone who already knows that love is never something you force, it is something you earn by becoming the very best version of yourself. The greatest mistake people make when trying to build a deep connection is believing that attraction is created through pressure. They think if they text more, explain more, prove themselves more, or chase harder, they will eventually win someone's heart. But human emotions simply don't work that way. The more pressure someone feels, especially a person who values independence, the stronger their instinct becomes to pull away. Real attraction begins the moment another person feels emotionally safe in your presence. Emotional safety means creating an environment where someone doesn't feel judged, controlled, or forced to become someone they are not. Think about the people you naturally enjoy spending time with. Chances are they don't constantly criticize you. They don't demand that you earn their approval every minute. They allow you to be yourself without making you feel like you're walking on eggshells. That feeling is incredibly rare, and because it's rare, it's unforgettable. People who seem emotionally distant are often carrying invisible emotional armor. They may appear strong, confident, and completely self-sufficient, but beneath that surface there is often a fear of disappointment, rejection, or losing their freedom. When someone tries to rush intimacy or constantly seeks reassurance, those fears become louder. Instead of feeling closer, they instinctively create more distance because they believe, their personal space is being threatened. This is why calm confidence becomes so powerful. When you don't panic because someone needs space, you communicate strength without saying a single word. You silently demonstrate that your emotional stability doesn't depend on another person's power. Immediate attention. That kind of energy creates curiosity because it is different from what most people experience. Instead of becoming another source of pressure, you become a source of peace. Think about how refreshing it feels to be around someone who doesn't constantly expect something from you. Someone who enjoys your company but doesn't demand it. Someone who appreciates your presence without making you responsible for their happiness. That kind of person feels safe because they are emotionally complete on their own. Their confidence invites connection rather than forcing it. Creating emotional safety also means becoming an exceptional listener. Most conversations today are filled with interruptions, quick opinions, and endless attempts to prove who is right. Very few people genuinely listen with the intention of understanding another person's thoughts and emotions. When someone feels truly heard, they begin lowering emotional barriers they may have carried for years. Listening without judgment tells another person, your experiences matter. Your feelings have value. You don't need to defend yourself here. Respect also plays a vital role in emotional safety. Respect means honoring another person's boundaries without interpreting them as rejection. It means understanding that healthy relationships allow both people to maintain their individuality. You don't have to agree with every decision someone makes, but you can respect their need for space, personal growth, and independence. Ironically, the less you try to control someone, the more comfortable they become choosing to spend time with you. Your own emotional reactions matter just as much. If every delayed reply creates anxiety, every disagreement becomes an argument, or every misunderstanding turns into emotional drama, people begin associating your presence with stress rather than comfort. Emotional maturity is the ability to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. It is remaining calm during uncertainty instead of allowing fear to dictate your behavior. Stability is deeply attractive because it creates an atmosphere where trust can naturally develop. Authenticity strengthens emotional safety even further. People eventually recognize when someone is pretending to impress them. They can sense when compliments are exaggerated, when confidence is forced, or when kindness is simply a strategy to receive something in return. Genuine authenticity requires no performance. It simply means showing up honestly, speaking truthfully, and allowing your actions to consistently reflect your values. Authentic people create lasting trust because others never have to guess which version of them will appear tomorrow. The remarkable truth is that emotional safety cannot be manufactured through clever techniques or psychological tricks. It is the natural result of becoming emotionally secure within yourself. When you no longer seek validation from every interaction, when your happiness comes from purpose rather than approval, and when your confidence is rooted in character instead of attention, people naturally feel more relaxed around you because they recognize they are free to be themselves without fear of pressure or judgment. One of the greatest shifts you can make in your life is realizing that attraction begins with the relationship you have with yourself. Too many people believe they must earn someone else's affection before they can feel valuable. They place their confidence in another person's attention, approval, or validation. The problem with that mindset is simple. The moment your sense of worth depends on someone else, you surrender your emotional power. You stop acting from confidence and start acting from fear. Fear changes everything. Fear makes you overthink every message, every silence, every delay, and every interaction. It convinces you that if you say the perfect words or make the perfect move, you can control another person's feelings. But people are rarely attracted to someone who is desperately seeking approval. They are naturally drawn to someone who already recognizes their own value. Quiet confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need constant recognition. It doesn't compete for attention or try to prove superiority. Quiet confidence simply exists. It comes from knowing your values, honoring your principles, and respecting yourself whether others applaud you or not. When you respect yourself, your behavior changes naturally. You stop chasing people who repeatedly show little interest. You stop sacrificing your dignity just to avoid being alone. You stop pretending to agree with everything because you're afraid disagreement will push someone away. Instead, you become honest, calm, and authentic. Ironically, This authenticity often creates stronger connections than trying to impress someone ever could. People notice those who have a meaningful life beyond relationships. Imagine meeting two different individuals. One has no clear purpose outside of finding love. Their happiness rises and falls depending on another person's attention. The other is passionate about personal growth, their career, their health, their friendships, and their goals. They enjoy relationships, but their identity isn't defined by them. Which person feels more inspiring to be around? The answer is almost always the second one, because purpose creates energy, and energy creates attraction. This doesn't mean becoming emotionally unavailable or pretending you don't care. Self-respect isn't emotional distance. It is emotional balance. You can deeply appreciate someone while still maintaining your own identity. You can love without losing yourself. You can care without becoming dependent. Healthy relationships are built by two complete individuals who choose to walk together, not by two people hoping the other will fill every emotional gap in their lives. Another important part of self-respect is setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are standards that protect your emotional well-being. They communicate what you will accept and what you will not tolerate. When you consistently honor your boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. When you repeatedly ignore your own standards out of fear of losing someone, you quietly teach them that your needs come second. Confidence also grows through action, not positive thinking alone. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your self-belief. Every challenge you overcome reminds you of your resilience. Every skill you develop expands your sense of possibility. Confidence isn't built by waiting until you feel fearless. It is built by acting despite uncertainty and discovering that you are capable of far more than Mysteria imagined. Your physical presence also reflects your inner relationship with yourself. Standing tall, making comfortable eye contact, speaking with clarity, and remaining composed under pressure all communicate confidence without a single boastful word. These behaviors are not performances. They are outward expressions of inner stability. People naturally trust those who appear grounded because they sense emotional consistency rather than emotional chaos. Perhaps the greatest transformation happens when you stop viewing rejection as proof of your inadequacy. Not every connection is meant to become a lasting relationship, and that is perfectly normal. Someone choosing a different path does not reduce your worth. It simply means the connection was not the right fit. Self-respecting people understand this. Instead of begging for acceptance, they appreciate the experience, learn from it, and continue moving forward with dignity intact. The moment you build a life that excites you, relationships become something you choose rather than something you desperately need. You wake up with goals that inspire you, habits that strengthen you, friendships that support you, and dreams that challenge you to grow. That fulfillment changes your entire energy because you no longer approach people hoping they will complete your life. You approach them as someone who is already complete, ready to share an already meaningful journey with another person who values authenticity, confidence, and mutual respect. One of the greatest misconceptions about relationships is the belief that powerful emotions create powerful connections. In reality, emotional intensity may capture attention for a moment, but emotional stability is what earns lasting trust. Many people believe that if they react quickly, express every feeling immediately, or constantly seek reassurance, they are demonstrating love. What they are often demonstrating instead is anxiety. Lasting relationships are not built on emotional urgency. They are built on patience, consistency, and the ability to remain calm even when life becomes uncertain. Patience is not passive. Patience is strength under control. It is the ability to remain confident without demanding immediate answers. It is trusting that meaningful connections develop over time instead of trying to force them into existence. Every strong relationship grows like a tree. You cannot pull on the branches to make it grow faster. You nurture the roots, give it time, and allow nature to do its work. Human trust follows the same principle. When someone needs space, many people immediately assume the worst. They begin questioning themselves, creating negative stories in their minds, or chasing reassurance. That reaction often creates the very distance they fear. Emotional maturity means resisting the urge to react impulsively, Instead of allowing fear to control your behavior, you choose calmness. You remind yourself that one moment does not define an entire relationship. Your ability to stay centered during uncertainty communicates confidence more powerfully than endless explanations ever could. Consistency is another quality that quietly transforms relationships. Grand gestures may be memorable, but small, dependable actions build trust. Showing respect every day matters more than making dramatic promises once in a while. Keeping your word, arriving when you say you will, communicating honestly, and treating people with kindness even during disagreements create a foundation that emotions alone cannot provide. Trust grows when people repeatedly experience reliability instead of unpredictability. People often underestimate the importance of emotional control. Every person experiences frustration, disappointment, insecurity, and fear. The difference is not whether those emotions exist, but whether they control your actions. Someone who immediately reacts with anger, accusations, or emotional outbursts creates an atmosphere of uncertainty. People begin wondering which version of that person they will encounter next. Emotional control creates the opposite experience. It allows others to feel secure because they know disagreements will be handled with respect, rather than chaos. Learning to pause before responding is one of the greatest relationship skills you can develop. A few moments of reflection can prevent words that create unnecessary damage. Strong people understand that not every feeling deserves immediate expression. Sometimes wisdom means listening first, thinking carefully, and choosing words that build understanding instead of conflict. Responding with intention rather than reacting from emotion demonstrates remarkable self-mastery. Respecting boundaries is equally important. Healthy relationships are not built by demanding constant attention or unlimited access to another person's time. Every individual deserves personal space, independent interests, and opportunities for growth. Respecting those boundaries shows confidence because it communicates that you trust the relationship rather than trying to control it. Ironically, people often feel closer to those who respect their independence than to those who constantly demand reassurance. Patience also means allowing people to reveal themselves naturally. Instead of rushing to define every stage of a relationship, give both individuals the opportunity to build genuine understanding. Character reveals itself through time. Integrity reveals itself through repeated choices. Trust cannot be manufactured in a single conversation because it is earned through countless, consistent experiences. Another essential part of emotional maturity is refusing to let temporary setbacks define your mindset. Every relationship experiences misunderstandings, disagreements, and moments of uncertainty. Strong individuals do not interpret every challenge as a sign that everything is falling apart. They remain grounded, communicate honestly, and work toward solutions instead of assigning blame. This resilience creates an atmosphere where both people feel safe enough to be imperfect, without fearing immediate rejection. Perhaps the greatest expression of confidence is remaining true to your values regardless of circumstances. You continue showing kindness even when life becomes stressful. You remain respectful even when opinions differ. You choose honesty over convenience and integrity over temporary emotional satisfaction. These qualities cannot be imitated for long because they reflect genuine character rather than temporary performance. Over time, patience, consistency, emotional control, and respect become more persuasive than charm because they create the one thing every lasting relationship depends upon: unwavering trust. The most powerful transformation you will ever experience begins the moment you stop asking, "How do I make someone choose me?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming every single day?" That single question shifts your attention away from controlling another person's emotions and places it where real power has always existed, within yourself. You cannot control another person's heart, their decisions, or the timing of their emotions. But you can control your mindset, your habits, your character, and the way you show up in every area of your life. Far too many people spend enormous amounts of energy analyzing someone else's behavior. They examine every message, every pause, every conversation, and every expression, hoping to discover a secret formula that guarantees affection. The truth is that lasting relationships are never built on perfect strategies. They are built on authentic character. The strongest influence you will ever have comes from becoming someone whose actions consistently reflect confidence, integrity, and emotional maturity. Self-mastery begins with taking responsibility for your own emotional state. Instead of expecting another person to make you feel secure, you learn to create that security within yourself. Instead of relying on constant validation, you develop confidence through your own actions. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your identity. Every challenge you overcome builds resilience. Every difficult moment you face with courage reminds you that your strength comes from within, not from someone else's approval. Growth requires honesty. It requires looking at your weaknesses without making excuses. Perhaps you become impatient when things do not happen quickly. Perhaps you seek reassurance too often because you fear rejection. Perhaps you avoid difficult conversations because conflict makes you uncomfortable. Recognizing these patterns is not a sign of failure. It is the beginning of transformation. The people who improve their lives are not those who pretend to be perfect. They are those who are willing to confront their imperfections with humility and determination. Your daily habits shape the person you become. Every morning presents an opportunity to strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, and develop your discipline. Read books that challenge your thinking. Learn skills that expand your opportunities. Exercise because it strengthens both your body and your confidence. Spend time with people who encourage growth rather than negativity. Every positive choice becomes another brick in the foundation of your character. Over time, that foundation becomes impossible to ignore because genuine confidence is always more convincing than empty words. Purpose also transforms the way you approach relationships. When your entire world revolves around one person, every interaction feels overwhelming because too much emotional weight has been placed on a single connection. But when your life is filled with meaningful goals, fulfilling work, personal growth, strong friendships, and opportunities to contribute to others, relationships become an important part of your life rather than your entire identity. That balance creates emotional freedom, and emotional freedom creates confidence. Another essential part of self-mastery is learning to let go of outcomes you cannot control. You may care deeply about someone, treat them with respect, and communicate honestly, yet they may still choose a different path. That choice is not always a reflection of your value. Sometimes people are simply at different stages of life. Sometimes their priorities are different. Sometimes two good people are simply not the right match. Accepting this reality protects your peace because your self-worth is no longer determined by someone else's decision. Character is revealed most clearly during difficult moments. Anyone can remain positive when everything is going well. The true test comes when life becomes uncertain, when plans change, or when disappointment appears. Do you become bitter, or do you become wiser? Do you blame others, or do you accept responsibility for your own growth? Every challenge gives you an opportunity to strengthen qualities that cannot be purchased: patience, resilience, compassion, discipline, and integrity. As you continue growing, something remarkable begins to happen. People notice the difference without you announcing it. They notice your calmness under pressure, your confidence without arrogance, your kindness without weakness, and your ability to remain true to your values regardless of circumstances. These qualities create genuine respect because they cannot be manufactured through clever techniques or temporary performances. They are earned through consistent personal development. The greatest reward of mastering yourself is not that everyone will choose you. The greatest reward is that you no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. You walk through life with quiet confidence because you know your value is built on your character, your purpose, your discipline, and your commitment to becoming a better person every single day. From that place of inner strength, every relationship becomes a choice made from abundance rather than fear, and every meaningful connection grows from authenticity instead of the desire to control another person's heart. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one truth I want you to remember long after today, it is this: the strongest connections are never built through pressure, persuasion, or manipulation. They are built through the quiet power of character. Every relationship reflects the person you choose to become. When you create emotional safety instead of emotional pressure, when you value yourself instead of chasing validation, when you practice patience instead of panic, and when you master your own emotions instead of trying to control someone else's, You naturally become the kind of person others trust, respect, and want to be around. Stop wasting your energy trying to unlock someone else's heart while neglecting your own growth. Build a life that inspires you. Develop confidence that doesn't depend on applause. Become emotionally strong enough to stay calm when life becomes uncertain. Speak with honesty. Act with integrity. Keep your promises. Respect boundaries. Lead with kindness, because in the end, people may forget your words, they may forget your appearance, but they will never forget how safe, respected, and valued they felt in your presence. The greatest victory is not making someone fall in love with you. The greatest victory is becoming a person who brings out the best in others simply by being the best version of yourself. And when you live from that place of authenticity, every relationship becomes healthier, every connection becomes deeper, and every step you take becomes a reflection of your highest standards. Remember, the person who wins in life is never the one who learns how to control hearts. It is the one who learns how to master their own. Thank you, and never forget, when you become extraordinary on the inside, the right people will naturally recognize your value on the outside.